everyone, this is Cubs Fan Han to do another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video. And today I am going to be bringing you a guide on how you can get the most out of being free to play. Now there is a myth in this game, a mindset that some of you have that to do well in this game, to hit the top of your arena shard, to do the best in raids, you have to spend lots of money. And I am going to say unequivocally that this notion is false.
False. False.
Now, of course, it helps to spend money. If you've got lots of money and you can dump it into this game, I salute you. Good for you. That's awesome. Some of us aren't able to do that or just don't want to do that because we would rather enjoy the game without dumping all kinds of money into it. So this video is going to give you 6 tips on how you can do free to play, but do it the right way. Please note that I am 99.9% free to play. There's a loose definition of this, but I will give you a full disclosure. I have caved and spent $30 all time in this game. If you think that makes me a whale or a pay-to-play player, then you can discredit this and stop watching the video.
Good day, sir!
I think I'm still free to play with that much money spent in the game, however. And I am finishing top of my arena shard every day. I split first and second with my buddy Kaupuki, who is in my community. He's great to work with, and I am in a November 2015 shard. So, tip number 1, be patient. Farming takes time in this game. Most of the money that people spend is only paying for impatience.
Surely. But I want it now!
The best example I can think of is when Darth Nihilus came out. There's a guy I know in my community who spent $450 to take him to 7 stars. Ouch! That's a lot of money! That's like that's like an iPad or what have you. That's just a lot spent on one character. And here we are, a couple months after Darth Nihilus came out. And how many of you free-to-players have Darth Nihilus at 7 stars? So it can get you a head start, but especially in the case of Nihilus, he was viable in the arena at 3-4 stars anyway, when the gear was there. Now, I am not knocking how awesome it probably was to have Nihilus at 7 stars right away, or to have Ahsoka Tano with the Fulcrum at 7 stars right away. That's awesome. But from your free-to-play standpoint, is your inability to do that really inhibiting you that much? And my assertion to you is no, it's not inhibiting you that much. You're a bit behind, but you can still gear them up and be ahead when you are able to star up those tunes, because eventually you will be able to star them up. Tip number 2, focused farming. Now, it is really important in this game that you do not spread yourself too thin. If you are farming 30 characters at once, you are going to be very slow to progress. However, if you can focus on a smaller set of tunes or characters, then you can get ahead in this game a lot quicker. The first set of characters that I recommend all of you focus on is your arena team. So, the reason why the arena is so important in this, again, is because your crystal rewards come from the arena. Now, if you look at this payout scale, when you're finishing down here in the 100s and in the lower areas of the game, you're only getting about 100, maybe less crystals a day. But when you get into the top part of your shard, you're getting about 500 to 300 crystals a day for top 5. Now, what does that translate to? If I'm getting 500 crystals a day, that's 1,500 crystals every 3 days. And if you look at your resource or your crystals here, that is about $10 every 3 days worth of crystals. That means about $20 a week, $80 a month that you are making by finishing in the top of your arena server. So essentially, if you are able to farm a good enough team to get into the top of your shard, you are becoming a pay-to-play player without spending any money in this game. $80 a month is huge. That's a lot of crystals, and it makes an immense difference. Now, some of you probably watching this are thinking, Cubs fan Han, I cannot get to the top of my arena shard. Now I want you to hold your hand out and slap yourself, because that is not true. You can all get to the top of your arena shard. You can do it! The variable that we can't control here is how willing is your shard to coordinate with you. So you definitely want to make sure that you get in touch with the guys in your shard and build a good relationship with them so they like you enough that they want to coordinate with you. My shard is very good at coordinating, and everybody is very cool with everyone, so it's very possible. Now, something you need to consider, though, as far as farming the right teams, because you do need to be able to beat these guys at the top. Those guys can only send in 5 characters, just the same as you. It does not matter if they have a full roster of Gear 11 tunes, and they can change up their arena team every day. If you farm 5 characters that are viable in the top 10 of your shard, then you will be able to do this. So, the first area of focus for you guys needs to be that arena team, those top 5 characters that are going to be viable in your shard. Something you want to look into is, what are those 5 characters for me? We live in a climate where there's actually a pretty diverse meta.
What in the hell's diversity?
Well, I could be wrong, but I believe diversity is an old wooden ship that was used during the Civil War era.
If we look at my arena shard, for example, we've got anything from your traditional triple cleanse team here, who's sitting at number 1. We've got a General Kenobi-led team that has R2 and Nihilus in it. This is a great team. We've also got our Jedi team, which comprises of Anakin, Yoda, General Kenobi, and R2. These are all free-to-play, accessible teams. Obviously, General Kenobi, you do need to be in a Heroic Tank Guild, which I recommend all of you find a way to do. Then we've even got a Darth Maul team here that has Chase in it, and Sith Assassin, and Nihilus. All of these characters right now are able to be farmed by you free to play. Look at this, even a Resistance team. A hybrid team with Sidious and B2. Anyway, you guys get the point. So, make sure that you are focusing on the top 5 characters that are going to fit into your arena as a starting point. So, tip number 3 is to spend these crystals wisely. So once you get into the top of your arena server, you're raking in those crystals, we want to make sure that you're using those crystals in a way that is going to benefit you the most. So let me make a few recommendations on what I feel is worth it and what I feel isn't. And a general rule of thumb that I'm going to give you here is to try to avoid spending crystals on anything RNG. And again, RNG is the random number generator. So anything that you are spending crystals on where you don't know what you're going to get, you're just hoping that RNG blesses you with good rewards. That is not my favorite way to spend crystals, because you're going to end up wasting a lot of crystals. So, my top recommendation for spending your crystals is gear. I love spending my crystals on gear, and especially some gear you really want to look into buying are items like this Mark 8 Biotech implant, your Athchem packs. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Those are 750 crystals though. Your holo projectors are really good. Mark 3 holo projectors are only 300 crystals. Some of this gear that a lot of your characters need. It can really speed up the farming if you can afford to spend crystals on them. Now, some other gear that is good to spend spend some crystals on are stun cuffs or stun guns. I tend to avoid those a bit more because they cost more. They're about 1,200 crystals. That's a lot to drop on one piece of gear. So I usually lean towards these 750 pieces because they're just cheaper. Now, some gear that I would avoid buying is Carbantes. Carbantes are very expensive, and you can actually farm Carbantes very quick. Now, one of the reasons I recommend avoiding buying Carbantes with crystals is simply because they're so accessible. Now, everybody needs them, so if you do have the resources to buy a Carbante and you just say, screw it, I just want to buy one, then you're still going to benefit from it. But if you're a little bit more patient, you're going to be able to get them. Remember, you've got the challenge on Sundays, Mondays, and Thursdays that's going to pull you Carbantes 5 times in that day, 3 to 5. I know it says more, but usually just 5 is the max. So that gives you 3 opportunities in the week to gain Carbantes. I also recommend that you request Carbantes from your guild in the exchange. And the reason why is simply because a lot of people have Carbantes because they're in the challenge. I have never had an issue getting a Carbante donation. So I would recommend doing that. Just be sure if you're requesting regularly, please donate. In fact, let's donate some of these right now. There we go. Isn't that nice? So be sure to donate gear to your friends if you are going to be requesting a lot. So again, gear is my top recommendation of what you want to invest your crystals in. Now, refreshes are also going to be a must. When you buy your energy, fortunately now we have 3 refreshes at 50 crystals for your regular energy. I'm not sure if they intended to leave it that way, but it's staying, and so I like it. I spend 150 crystals a day on refreshes on my regular energy and use that for gear. Cantina is also something very worth spending refreshes on. It's a bit more expensive. It's 100 crystals. What I personally do is I spend 3 refreshes a day on regular energy and just 1 Cantina refresh. The reason why I'm only doing 1 Cantina is because I'm not desperate for anything in the Cantina right now. If you've got something you really need to fast track farm in the Cantina, I would say go ahead and spend 2 refreshes on crystals. But the reason why I like spending only 100 on Cantina just once a day is because that equates to 250 crystals spent on refreshes, which means every single day I am netting 250 to 200 crystals depending on where I finish in my arena server. You want to be saving crystals so that you can spend them on big gear pieces that you need. So that's why I'm only spending the 1 Cantina refresh so that I can save more crystals. So something else you may consider investing crystals on is character shards. Now you notice here they put the Phoenix Squad in here. We still got Darth Nihilus in here, Director Krennic, and then some randoms. This isn't my favorite thing to spend crystals on, but it really depends on the character. One character I think is very much worth spending crystals on if you are newer in the game and you are unable to unlock this light side hard node for bays. Then it might be worth spending crystals just to get bays unlocked, especially if you're newer in the game. Remember, when he is at lower stars, because he's a tank, he is going to be perfectly viable when you gear him up, and he can really get you ahead in the arena. So I would recommend that him as a character that may be worth spending crystals on. But spending money on character shards is definitely not something I recommend for characters that are available in other places, because then again, you're just spending money on impatience. Sabine, I can get her in a hard node right now. I can get her in guild shipments right now. Kanan, I can get him in my arena server. Nihilus has a hard node. Director Krennic has a hard node. K2SO's in the Galactic War store. So it's just not very worth spending money on those unless you're really desperate, you really need to get them, and you've got the resources. I would say avoid spending money on character shards. Now, one area of the game that you can spend crystals on, and I think a lot of people neglect this, is your mod store. Now, before you yell at me here, I am not talking about spending money on these mods that show up for like a bazillion crystals. Those are not worth it unless you've got an abundance of crystals and it's just an awesome mod. But you've got this refresh button here, and look at how many crystals that is. I don't know if you've noticed, it's only 15 crystals. And this is an area where if you are spending, if you've got the credits to spend, you can really be picky about what mods you find. So for example, this mod, if it had speed secondary on it, might be a good mod for me to get. This isn't a speed arrow, so I'm not going to waste money on those, but maybe I want to try to refresh these. Let's just see what comes up. So after a refresh, oop, another one showed up. No speed secondary, so I'm going to avoid that one. Here's another one with guaranteed secondary. It's a potency cross. So this one might be a good mod to buy for me if I was needing it for Tebow or one of those potency characters. Now, one final area of the game that I want to look at that you can spend your crystals on is the store. And you've got these chromium packs in here that are going to give you a chance at character shards and characters. Now, I don't want to knock these packs completely because they do serve a purpose, but what I want you to consider is what are the odds of you getting something that you will actually use in this game? So for me right now, if I'm going to get one of these chromium packs, which of these characters that are possibly going to show up here that I actually need? So if you look at my characters right now, who are the characters I need character shards for? So I need some shards for Baze. I need some shards for, let's see here, I need some shards for Nihilus. I believe he shows up in there now. I need some shards for Chirrut. Who else? I mean, when you look at the top here, almost everyone else is 7-star or they're a legendary character. I can't get any shards for them in there anyway. I can't get any Thrawn shards. You know, there's really not, I mean, Fulcrum's not in there yet. Maybe some of the Phoenix squad I could use, but I'm not really actively pursuing them for any teams right now. So there's really not that many characters that I need shards for. So if I'm going to roll the dice here and go, all right, I need shards for either Baze, Chirrut, or Nihilus right now, and I'm going to buy one of these packs, what are the odds that I actually get shards for that character? It's very low. So when you are more advanced in this game, your needs become very specific. And I'm going to say that the value of these chromium packs decreases the longer you play the game because those needs get more specific. The chances of actually getting something worthwhile are going to go down. Now, again, if you can afford to buy these packs and you're willing to roll the dice, sure, go for it. Good for you. However, what I think you should consider if you are trying to do this game free to play is where your crystals are invested the most wisely. And this is an area of the game I don't think it's invested very wisely when you're farther advanced into the game, for the simple fact that the odds of actually getting something you will use are going to be lower. Now, if you are newer in this game, say you just started, your needs are so broad. You need to get a scoundrel team ready for credit heist. You need to get teams ready for raids. You need to get teams ready for your arena. You need to get teams ready just to get through the challenges so that you can have the right teams to get each challenge unlocked. So there are so many characters you need when you start this game. You know what? It might be worth it to buy a few mega packs if you can manage to do that, because the odds of getting a character that you actually need are going to be a lot higher when you need basically everybody. So, tip number 4. And this will be a pretty quick tip and kind of common sense, but it still definitely needs to be talked about. And that is to always do your daily activities. This can't be overstated. Every single day when you finish your dailies, you're going to get an Omega ability. You're going to get this pack here. And you're just going to get all sorts of resources that you need in this game. You're going to get crystals. Look at this. Just for completing my dailies, I'm going to get 24 crystals. When you're free to play, 24 crystals every single day adds up. You're going to get fleet currency. You're going to get experience if you're not level 85 yet. If you are not level 85, this is going to be that much more important. So make sure that you are completing your daily activities every single day. And what goes along with that is that you're getting your challenges every day. Looks like I still need to do one right here. Hopefully I can get some good Carbantes. Nope, 3. You always get 3 Carbantes. Oh my gosh. And then of course, you're always going to be wanting to complete your ship challenges. I still haven't done my Zeta yet. I've only done one today. Hopefully I can get a Zeta ability. Sweet. Thanks guys, you just helped me get a Zeta. So make sure you're doing those daily activities every single day because they are completely free. It's free resources. What goes along with that as well is completing your Galactic Wars every day. You're going to get, I believe it's about 500 credits a day from your Galactic War, maybe 100 or so crystals. I haven't actually done the math on that, so if somebody wants to comment that's actually done those stats, please do so. But these are free resources that you get in this game just for playing the game. So make sure you do all of those daily activities that get you resources in the game. So tip number 5 is to get into a solid guild. Now depending on where you are at in this game, this could mean a different thing, but if you are strong enough, my top recommendation is to get into an active heroic tank guild. General Kenobi makes a huge difference in this game. He is an extremely valuable character to have. And the gear rewards that you get from being in a guild like that are going to be highly beneficial to you. If you are newer to the game and maybe you're not strong enough to qualify for a heroic tank guild, or if you don't know some people that would be willing to carry you along, then you still want to make sure that you find a guild that is active enough. And what I mean by that is, how many raid tickets are they pulling in a day? If you are in a guild that is only pulling in 15 to 20,000 raid tickets a day, then you are not getting enough raiding in to do well in this game. Because every single time you raid, you are getting excellent gear rewards, and if you don't have enough tickets to do so, then you are going to be shortchanging yourself. So please, please, please find an active guild. Now, one of the ways that you can tell that your guild is active enough is probably going to be by which way they communicate. If you are like I used to be, over a year ago when guilds first came out, I was in a guild that had no external communication. We were just communicating in this crappy in-game chat, which pretty much is there's just no capability. You really need to find a way to communicate externally. My top recommendation is that you find a guild that is communicating through Discord. Now, Discord is an amazing chat interface that lets your guild communicate in many ways. So if you look here, this is my my community here, and I can assign, I'm the community leader, so I've got all sorts of roles here that I can assign out. I've got officers assigned. I've got Jedi Masters assigned, who are our trainers for our community. I've got everyone, our community theme is Spaceballs, so we call everyone assholes. If you haven't seen the movie, it's not an insult, it's just part of the joke. And then every guild here is organized by role. Every guild has their own private section of the Discord, and then we've got our whole community section here. So this is just the functionality here is awesome with Discord, and it helps you really keep things organized going forward. So make sure you find a guild that is organized and is communicating through Discord. Now, something else you want to be keeping up on is the current events in Galaxy of Heroes, and you do that by staying in touch with the forums, which are right here. Let's pull those up. So you've got all sorts of discussion going on here on the forums. Please keep up to date with that. And then, of course, on Reddit as well. I highly recommend you guys stay up to date with this, because you're going to get a lot of opinions on there. You're going to be able to stay in touch with what the current meta is, how current tunes are doing in the arena. Maybe if you are wondering, hey, how's Thrawn in the arena? You want to ask a question. Lots of people will be able to give you really viable feedback on that. So be sure that you are keeping up to date with the community by being in a guild that is actively communicating on a third-party chat app. I recommend Discord, and by staying in touch with the forums, and of course with Reddit as well. And then finally, tip number 6, and I want you all to lean in very closely and listen to this. Do not let this game ruin your life. Please, 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 always put your personal relationships, your families, your friends in front of mobile gaming. It's just not that important. Now, this game is super fun, and there is a lot that you can enjoy in this game. And yeah, it's going to take you a lot of time to do a lot of it. However, if you let this game consume you, it will take all of the fun out of it, and you just don't want that to happen. Sure, if you're free to play, you might fluctuate a bit in the arena. A new character might come out, and you might watch all the pay-to-play players get them to gear 11 before you do. I'm actually in that boat right now. A lot of guys in my arena have Thrawn at gear 11 already, and he's actually starting to run the arena here. If you take a look at my ranks here, let's just take a look. We got a Thrawn here, gear 11. Do we have a Thrawn there? Yep, gear 11. Does Gulliver have one? He doesn't. My buddy Skaz, he's got Thrawn at gear 11. And then let's look at me. I'm starting to experiment here. I've got Thrawn in there, gear 8. Because I'm free to play. And you know what? that's okay. Side note, I actually think Thrawn, if you can keep him protected, he actually works at gear 8. You just might make yourself a target because he's so low on gear. But at any rate, the point of the story being, you might be a bit behind, but you'll get there. Be sure to have fun with this game. It's meant to be fun. It's not meant to consume our lives and to ruin personal relationships. At any rate, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really want you guys to know that you can do free-to-play right in this game. You can enjoy everything this game has to offer being a completely free-to-play player. The main thing that you need to keep in mind is you just might have to wait a little bit longer than a lot of those pay-to-play players. You might not have every fancy toy in this game, but you still can absolutely get to the top of your arena shard. You can absolutely do well in raids. You can absolutely enjoy this game to the fullest being a free-to-play player. If you liked the video, as always, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And don't you guys ever forget...
For my dead body. Sorry about the mess.